Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. We need you did not do your practice. You did not receive your PBX file in group.
Yes, I have problem with my laptop. It's not working for me. I have charger problem. Uh, as
Oh,
possible, I will resolve it.
oh, oh. All right, fine. No issues. All right, let's check what were the options available under transform ribbon. All right, so we already worked on group by. We know what group by does, right? What group by do? Tell me guys, like what group by will do?
Aggregation functions.
It's not an aggregation functions. Group by will form aggregation table. Check the material.
Yes.
Aggregation tables. Got it? With the help of aggregation functions, like sum,
Yes.
average, median, min, max, count rows, right? Sorry. With the help of these aggregation functions, group by will help us to form or create aggregation tables. Like, and did I guys did I explain you about x velocity? Did I explain you this term x velocity?
No.
Okay. First, let's see what is meant by x velocity, and then we'll move to the options available under transform ribbon. Okay. So x velocity is a compression mechanism that which helps in compressing the file that is getting copied to Power BI. Simple example. You know zip and unzip, right? RAR files.
Yes.
Have you
Yes.
ever what RAR files will have? Like when you have, like, let's say for example you have 10 Word documents and you want to store the 10 Word documents as a compressed file, because like those 10 Word documents are huge. The size of these Word documents are very huge and you cannot send them across. So what you will do, you will compress those Word files into a RAR file and you will send that RAR file, and the opponent will unzip those RAR files and will be able to use those Word documents. Correct?
Yes.
Right? So similarly in Power BI, what happens is when you import, so I have imported the data, right? I have the data here. I have copied this data. From where I have copied this data? From where I have copied these tables?
Local right.
From my database, right? From my database, I have copied this data into Power BI, correct? So what happens is in my database, for example, the size of this dim employee table, the size of this dim employee table is somewhere around 1 GB. Okay. And let's say, for example, all these sizes, like all the tables size is 1 GB, 1 GB, 1 GB. Every size of every table size is 1 GB. Okay. And when you copy that 1 GB file into Power BI, and when you save, like Money has sent me a PBX file. When you save, sorry, sorry. So when you save these files into .pbx format, what Power BI will do is, with the help of X velocity mechanism, like X velocity is a backend mechanism which will work. Like you cannot see where X velocity it is. It is a backend mechanism. So with the help of X velocity, the Power BI will compress these tables. It will compress these tables and it will store in .pbx format. Got it? So ideally, you will be asked a question in this manner, whatever the file size, whatever the Excel file or whatever the file size I take from the other resource into Power BI, will be the size of the Power BI file will be the same as my Excel file? Answer my question,
No,
guys.
no.
When I copy an Excel data into Power BI, so will my Power BI file size and my Excel file size will be the same? Yes or no?
And copy the file.
When you copy,
Copy.
when you import some data, when you import the data from Excel file to Power BI, right? And
Yes.
you save that file in Power BI format. So will the size of a Power BI file and the Excel file will be same?
No, no.
No,
Why?
You said that it is saved as compressed file by using
With the
it
help of
by
with the help of
X
X velocity.
So in the interview, like if you are asked like the same question, will my Power BI file, so the data set, like this is called as data sets in Power BI desktop. Okay. So will the data set of the file size, sorry, will the size of the data set, will the size of the data set will be same as my original resource? Means the answer should be no. They'll ask like why it will not be the same, because Power BI has X velocity mechanism. X velocity will help to compress the data set.
Yes.
Okay, so you can
Okay.
read that particular thing in your material. Like I've clearly explained, the very first assumption that you might get after reading about explanation about the import data is that if you have a database with 100 GB, then if you import it into Power BI, you will get 100 GB file size in Power BI. So which means that you're copying 100 GB of data into Power BI. Okay, this is not true. Power BI leverages compression engine of X velocity and works on a column store in memory technology. Like you don't need to mention all these things, but you need to understand like what is meant by X velocity. So column store in memory technology compresses, it will compress the data and stores it in a compressed format, right? Sometimes you might have a 1 GB Excel file, and when you import it into Power BI, your Power BI file ends up with only 10 MB. Let's say, for example, you are compressing a Word document in RAR, right? So the Word document is 1 GB. So the RAR file will be somewhere around 300 MB or 400 MB, right? So the similarly, when you are taking, when you are copying a 1 GB size of data into Power BI from Excel file, and that Excel file is of 1 GB, and the Power BI file will end up somewhere around 10 MB or 20 MB or 50 MB or whatever, depending on the data. Okay.
Okay.
On a note, Power BI will store compressed data. It will always store the compressed data, and the size of data in Power BI would be much smaller than its size in the original data resource. So the size of the data in Power BI will always be smaller when compared with my original size, like whatever the size I have in database. Clear, people? Understood like what is X velocity, why we use X velocity?
Yes.
Okay.
Any questions, or shall I explain? Shall I move forward or shall I explain again?
No, it's clear.
All right, perfect. Now let's come on to transform ribbons. Sorry, people. Yeah. The first option under transform ribbon is transpose. A transpose is table, treating rows as columns and columns as rows, which means that, let's take for example, I'm taking this small table here. So what it will do is like it will treat the columns as rows. It will convert the columns into rows and rows into columns, which means that these serial number, name and age will come as a row, and 1 2 3, and these values will come as a column, like transposing from one form to another form. Got it? So now let's see, like before working on transpose, let's select multiple columns. And when you select multiple columns, observe what were the options available under transform ribbon. When you have only one selection, observe what were the options we have under transform ribbon. All right, so which means that those options will not be applicable on a multiple selections. Now for example, I'm clicking on transpose for serial number. I have selected this column, and let's see how it works in transpose. You see now? Do I have a serial number here? No, right? I have column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4, column 5. And what are the values I have under serial number? I have as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is a row for me, and this is a column for me. Sorry, this is a row for me, and this is a column for me. So I have 1 in one column, and 2 in second column, and 3 in third column, and 4 in fourth column. Similarly, I have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? And now let's say, for example, I'm treating the name as transpose rows. See now, John, I have in one column, Kevin, Sarah, Dot, Lee, Jack, Tori. I have these names as a column right now, in a separate column. But earlier I have it in on the same column. In the single column, I have these names. But now what I have these names as a individual columns. That's how the use of the transpose rows. And in real time, like, you don't do all these things. These were the just options available. And the next option is reverse rows. So by default, transform is used to treat the columns as rows and rows as a columns. The definition of this transpose. And the next option is reverse rows. Reverse rows means like you will be reverting the entire rows. Let's say, for example, the last rows will be displayed in the top. Like, you will be entirely reversing it, like reversing these things. Let's see how it works. See now, I got my values reversed. Let's do it again. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 4, 5, 6. So when I reverse it, like, I'll be having 6, 5, 4, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 6, 5, 4, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are reversing the data set. You are reversing the table. Clear?
Clear.
All right. The next one is count rows. If you want to have the exact number of count, like how many rows were there, you can just click on it and you'll get a single number like this. Right? And as soon as you do the count rows, you see, like, it got changed to a 1, 2, 3, like a whole number data type. Now it's not a table anymore, because do I see a table here? No, right? I can see only one
No.
particular. So it got changed, the data type got changed to table format. When I close this thing, again it will back to a table, and I would be able to see the table values. Clear?
Clear.
Yes, yes.
All right. And the next one is like data type. We already discussed under home ribbon. And the next one is detect data type. Say, for example, if you don't know like what type of data type this particular data belongs to, you can just click on detect data type. It will automatically choose it, like whatever the data type it falls under. And the next one is rename, column name rename, and you can double click on it, you can get it. Or else, if you want to rename the table, you can right click on this and you can click on rename. The very important question is, the rename option available under transform ribbon can be applicable for an entire table. Answer my question, guys.
A particular column.
No, my question is, the rename option available under transform ribbon can be applied on a table.
Yes,
Yes or no?
yes, yes.
Oh, I can apply it on a table. How? Tell me the step-by-step process.
Table means
I'm not asking you like whether I can rename a table name or not. I'm asking you the option, the rename option, which is available under transform ribbon. So that particular option, can I use that option to change the name of the table?
No.
If yes, how I can? If no, then what is the use of that option?
you can change the table name.
We can change the table name in only right click on the table,
Okay.
particular table, then rename the. But in transform ribbon only we can change column name only.
Got it? Clear? So we can change only the column name. This could be your interview question. Can you change the table name with the help of rename option available under transform ribbon? The answer should be no. We can only apply this rename column to the rename option to the particular columns in the given table, right? Clear, people?
Clear.
Yes.
All right, perfect. The next one is replace values. You know what is meant by replace values, right? What is the option which will help me to treat null values? How I can treat null values?
By replacing with any.
By replacing with any specific static value.
Okay.
Clear?
Yes.
And the next option is fill. I need to take an example. One moment. Brand Samsung model some 254 some 526. I think it will not work. Let me check. 45 Sony will not work. See, this is called as an empty cell or a blank cell.
Empty cell.
Okay, what is meant by blank cell?
Blank means completely it's blank.
Empty means null
If
value.
it's empty means null value.
So now this is a blank cell or empty cell?
Blank.
Blank cell.
Blank. Okay,
Blank
this is
cell.
not an empty. This is a blank cell. All right. So let me take an Excel file. Right. So the fill option, like we were talking about the fill option here, right? The fill option, we have two options here, down and up. So how fill option will be working for me means, like if I click on fill down, so whatever the, like these two are the empty cells in Power BI. In Excel, like it's, though it's showing completely blank, but when I convert it into Power BI, it will show as a null values. So when I fill down, automatically whatever the text value is available above that particular empty cell, that particular value will be filled with the next available empty cells. For example, like this. Okay, now I'm saving this file. Let's get into Power BI. Desktop. Okay. Now, a very good example I've got here. I have null values here, right? And when you can see, I don't have my column names in a proper manner. Do I have my column names in a proper manner?
No.
Then what I have to do now? I want, see, now my task is, I want this table to look neat, and I don't want these blank values here or these empty values here, not blank. I don't want these empty values here. Now tell me the first step-by-step process. So forget about null values. I'll show you like how
Use
to use.
first row as a header.
So first what I'll do, I'll use first row as headers.
Header.
So now I got brand and model, right? So till now what we know, like to replace this null value, like to treat these null values, we can replace the values with a static value, for example, like not applicable or anything. But I know that these null values or like these models belongs to Samsung, and these models belongs to Sony, and these models belongs to Vivo, right? So now what I have to do, like I have to use Samsung here, and I have to use Samsung, and I have to use Sony, and I have to use Sony. Can I replace with Samsung, Sony, Vivo? Can I replace it?
No,
Why?
is different models and different
I have
brands.
different values. While replacing, I can use only single value, right? I cannot
Single
use
value.
multiple value, right? So to overcome that particular difficulty, what we have is we have fill option. When I click on fill down, you see now whatever the empty cell I have, whatever the text there above that empty cell was replaced in those empty cells, and what were the similarly for Sony and similarly for Vivo, and now my table is looking good, right? It's a perfect table now. I don't have any errors, nothing. Understood the transformations now, like how the transformations will be like?
Yes.
Yes.
Right now let's see what happens when I click on fill up. Tell me now what happens when I click on fill up. Any guess? Take a minute time, think, and let me know.
It's still in upward direction.
Upward direction, okay, it will fill in upward direction. Very good guess. And what were the values I'll be getting in the place of null values?
Vivo,
If you
Sony.
understand the mechanism of fill down, you'll get the mechanism of fill up.
Yeah. 2, 3
What I will get
Vivo
here?
become a
What I'll
Sony,
get here? What
and 5, 6 become Vivo, and I don't know last columns are Samsung or not.
So you meant to say like these two cells will become Vivo and these two cells will become Sony,
Yes.
and you don't know what happens with these two cells.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, please.
Vivo is Vivo in 9 Vivo కిందకు వస్తుంది అనుకుంటున్నాను. Sony,
Okay.
Samsung. Samsung is 3 and Sony is 6. Vivo is 9 and then fill it again. 8, 7
Okay,
is
the
Vivo
same thing is
and
happening
5, 6.
down, right?
Yes.
The same thing is happening in the down, but I want it for up. So what Vinil told is correct. Like when I fill up, see here, the null values will be replaced from the upwards.
Yes.
So the mechanism is whatever the, like if I'm doing a fill down, it will identify where is the first null value. So my first null value is there in the second column, and it will choose the text, whatever the text is there above to that null value.
Yes. Yes.
Got it? When you're doing a fill down, when you're doing a fill up, it will find out what is, where is the null value. It will start from the bottom, I have the null value. And do I have any text here? No, I have the null value. And I have text here, Vivo. And I have a null value. So whatever the text is there, it will fill to the above null values. That's what the mechanism meant, which is up. Right? Understood?
Yes.
Okay. Now, one important question for your interview is, how will you treat null values in Power Query Editor? How will you treat null values in Power Query Editor? I want an answer for this question. How will you treat null values in Power Query Editor?
Null values means empty values.
I'm not asking what is the null values. I'm asking you how you will treat null values.
It replaced with particular static numbers or text.
Only one thing. I just now I have removed null values, right? In
And
the
we
sheet,
can see
null values. I've just now removed null values. See, in Power Query Editor, we treat null values in two different manners. The first manner is either you can use the replace values, where you can replace the null values with a static text. That is the one option available for me. And the other option is filling. If there are any null values where we can identify like the null values become to the same category or same name, then we can use fill down or fill up.
Okay.
Got it? So this will be your in-depth knowledge in Power BI. To check your in-depth knowledge, they'll ask you such type of questions. And listen to the question very carefully. If the interviewer asks you like, how will you treat null values in Power BI desktop, or they were asking you like, how will you treat null values in Query Editor? It's different again. Got it? Desktop, I did not teach you yet. Like once you move to desktop, we'll go there. But in Query Editor, we have two options to treat null values, which is replace values and fill value. Very important. This will be your in-depth knowledge for your to test, like to test your in-depth knowledge in an interview.
Okay.
okay.
All right. And for today's assignment, like what you will do is like write a question like how to treat null values in Power Query Editor, and I want the answer for that.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it? And also write the definition of group by, like what group by will do.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. And also write another question. Just check like what were the options available under transform ribbon. Like we have few options from home ribbon itself, right? For example, split column, group by, replace values, first row as headers. We have the same options, right? Just write down the headings of the options which were not like which were newly in transform ribbon, which were not there in home ribbon. Understood?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. Just write the heading of those options. That's all. I don't want the functionality or whatever it is. And also, if you have time, write like select multiple columns. Select multiple. You know how to select multiple columns, right? How will you select
Yes.
multiple
Yes.
columns?
Control and
Control
select the.
and also when select multiple columns and write down what were the options available. Like what were the like these are disabled, which means that these are not available. These are enabled, which means that these are available. Clear? So write down
Clear.
what were the options available under home ribbon and transform ribbon when we have multiple columns selected.
Yes.
Sorry. Pivot column and unpivot column, these two options I will teach in tomorrow's session. Like for the entire session, it will be for pivot and unpivot columns. Okay, it will take the entire for make you to understand. And the next option is move. Move is nothing but like navigating between the tables, or sorry, navigating between the columns in a selected table. For example, I have this customer key column in first position and geography key in the second position, customer alternative key in the third position, right? Let's say, for example, I want geography key to the first position. So what I'll do for that, I will click on the geography key and I'll move it to left hand side. So now I have geography key as a this column, like in the first column here. Let's say, for example, we can achieve the same thing in a different manner. I want geography key in the first position, right? So what I will do, I'll go ahead and click on right because I have selected customer key here. So the customer key will be moved to the next position and the geography key will be coming back to the first position. Either ways you can perform this option, or else what you can do, you have selected the geography key. I have an option which is called as to beginning. So wherever the geography key is there, it will be moved to the first position. It's just reordering, and that's why we have reordered columns as an applied step here. Understood or confusing?
Yes,
Understood,
was
but
clear.
Clear, right? It's simple. Yeah.
If you have to by moving right, only one column it's moving.
Yes, when we are moving it, when you're using either left or right, it will move to either one position to the left or one position to the right. But when we are using to beginning or to end, that particular column, if you are using to beginning, that particular column will be moved to the first position. If you are using to end, this particular column will be moved to the end position. Let's say, for example, I'm using to end. Now the geography key will be at the end.
Yes.
Got it?
If we have to move two positions, after two positions we apply multiple times, right?
Exactly.
Apply
to right, move to right, and again if you want to move right,
okay.
like this. All right.
Yeah,
And the next option is convert to list. Now I have the geography key column as selected, and now my geography key column has converted into a list. And when you check here, the icon was changed to a list format. It wasn't in the table format now. It's in the list format, which means that it is holding only these particular geography key values. Sorry, it is holding only these particular values. When you want to convert a particular column into a list, what you will do, you will hold it and you will click on convert to list, and only that particular column will be converted into a list. Now the title is under list value. Now this is not in a table, like dim customer is not a table anymore, it's list now.
okay.
Clear?
Clear.
But it looks like table.
Like it's only a single column, right? It's only a list. It's just a list now.
Yes. Yes.
It's not a table anymore. It's called as a list. It's not a table anymore. When you convert a particular column into a list, that particular column doesn't belong to a table anymore. It's a list.
Okay.
Sorry. Right. And the next option is we'll learn merge columns. Merge columns is used to merge two different or more than two or three, any Like it could be any number. Merge column is used to merge any number of columns into one single column. For example, I have the customer first name, I have the customer middle name, and I have the customer last name. I want to have a full name of the customer. Full name means it is a mix of first name, middle name, and last name, right? Am I correct?
Yes. Yes, correct.
Right. So now I want the full name here. So when I have selected only last name, does the merge column option is available for me? Am I able to do it?
No.
Why?
Merge column means two or more columns needed.
The selection
To
has to
merge the
be
column,
more than two, right? Or more than one,
more than
sorry.
two. More than one.
So now I have selected these three multiple columns and my merge columns has enabled. Right? And now I'm clicking on merge columns. Very important thing, separator. Separator means this separator will help to separate the values from the first name to the middle name and from the middle name to the last name. For example, I can use a colon, I can use a comma, I can use an equal sign, I can use a semicolon, space, or a tab. I'm using a space. Okay, and the new column name is full name. Click on OK. And I have the full name here. And what is the separator I have used?
Space.
Space. Do I have the space between first name, middle name, and last name?
Yes.
Right. And do I have this full name in a new column? A separate new column?
No.
In the same
I have
column.
like the first
three.
name, middle name, last name were merged as a single column, right?
Single column.
I don't see first name and middle name and last name in any other column. So I don't see them.
Yes.
Got it?
Yes.
Now I'll show you some advanced concepts, whereas in like now let's say for example you don't want space here. Instead of space you want some comma symbol, like first name comma, middle name comma, and the last name. How you can do it? Like normally what you do, like you go to this settings icon and you will insert a comma like this. So what it will happen, instead of space it will give a comma here. Did I get a comma?
Yes.
Right. So instead of doing in this manner, we have another way to do it as well. That way is like doing under advanced editor. What advanced editor will have? What advanced
query
editor will have?
language.
Query language, right? So this is my query language. I have a bunch of applied steps here. For all the applied steps, I have the query language generated. If you can see, what's the first one? Source, right? And I have the source. Where is my source? It's a server. And the next one, I have the data warehouse. And the next one, I have the table, right? And the next one is change type. The change type, what type it was changed. And demoted headers, change type 1, change type 1, promoted headers, change type 2, replaced value, replaced value 1. So whatever the things you have here, you'll be having the same applied steps here. You can either edit from here itself, or you can come to the advanced editor. If you're more expert, you can come here and you can do it here itself. Where I can do that or how I can do that means, what is the separator I have given?
Comma.
Space. Comma.
Second one is a comma. So under merged column, like this is the step I have done now, right? Merged columns.
Yes.
Now, do you see I have a comma here?
Yes. Replace.
So this is the separate place. So over here, what I'll do is I'll give an equal sign. Instead of comma, I'm giving equal sign. Now let's see how this will work, whether it will work or not. Did it work?
Yes.
Right. So you can either edit from the advanced editor, or you can go from here or you can change it. Okay.
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 Understood or confusing?
No. It's what clear.
Clear, right?
Yes.
All right. So what's your task for today? Did you forget what is the task?
No. We write the group by description and transform.
All
Transform
right.
that
I'll
in.
send it WhatsApp group for today's assignment. What were the things you have to do? Okay.
Okay.
Right. I'll see you tomorrow, guys. I'll see you in tomorrow's session.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Yeah. Thank you. And we need like get your laptop fixed as soon as possible. Don't get it
Okay.
delayed. We need to practice.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. And Mani, do you have any questions in the split columns and merge columns? Oh, sorry, merge queries.
Yeah, I have a question. I
You have a
forgot to
question?
ask. Uh,
Okay. Okay,
when
so
I
what I'll
using,
do is like in tomorrow's session, first, like for the first 15 to 20 minutes, we'll discuss about these doubts and then we'll proceed with the pivot and unpivot columns.
yes.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm not actually feeling well today, so I'm closing the session a bit earlier.
Okay. No problem.
Okay. Oh, no
Okay.
problem.
Thank you. I'll see you tomorrow,
Okay.
guys.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.